The morning sun came through the tall windows of Hawthorne Academy. Students walked through the halls like any other day. They carried books. They talked about homework. They complained about tests. Nobody knew that today would change everything. Maya Chen sat in the back of classroom 4B. She was 17 years old. She had black hair that she kept in a simple ponytail. She wore the same uniform as everyone else. Nothing about her stood out. She was not popular. She was not unpopular. She was just there, like a shadow that nobody noticed. She had a book open on her desk. It was about ancient warfare. She liked reading about how humans fought through history. It was her secret interest. Nobody knew about it. Nobody asked. The door opened with a loud sound. Everyone looked up. 3 alien students walked in. They were Keithrani. The whole school knew they were coming. The Keithrani Empire had started an integration program 6 months ago. They said it was for peace. They said it was for understanding between species. But everyone knew the truth. It was to remind humans who was stronger. The Keithrani had arrived on Earth 5 years ago. Their ships blocked out the sun for 3 days. They did not invade. They did not need to. They simply showed humans what they could do. After that, Earth signed the treaty. Humans kept their planet, but they had to follow Keithrani rules. The tallest alien walked in first. His name was Draxus. He was the son of Warlord Verktel, one of the most powerful military leaders in the Keithrani Empire. Draxus stood over 2 meters tall. His skin was dark blue like the deep ocean. His eyes were golden and sharp. He moved like he owned the room. He moved like he owned the whole planet. Behind him came 2 more Keithrani students. They were his guards, his followers. They looked at the human students like they were looking at insects. Mrs. Patterson, the teacher, stood up nervously. She was a small woman with gray hair. Her hands were shaking a little. "Welcome," she said. "We are happy to have you join our class. Please take any seat you like." Draxus did not sit. He walked to the front of the room. He stood next to the teacher's desk. Mrs. Patterson stepped back without thinking. "I am Draxus, son of Verktel," he said. His voice was deep. It filled the room. "In Keithrani culture, when we enter a new place, we establish order. We show who is strong. We show who is weak." The human students looked at each other. Some were scared. Some were angry. None of them spoke. Draxus smiled. It was not a kind smile. "I issue a classroom challenge," he said. "This is my right under the treaty. Any human who wants to dispute Keithrani's strength may face one of my fighters. We will fight in the ceremonial way. No weapons, just body against body. If you win, you earn respect. If you lose, you accept your place." Mrs. Patterson stepped forward. Her face was pale. "I don't think this is appropriate for a classroom setting," she said. "Perhaps we should speak to the principal first." Draxus turned his golden eyes to her. She stopped talking immediately. "The treaty allows this," he said. "Section 47, ceremonial challenges for honor. Your principal cannot stop it. Your government cannot stop it. This is Keithrani law, and Earth follows Keithrani law." The room was silent. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Draxus looked around the room. He studied each human face. He saw fear in most of them. He saw anger in a few. He saw exactly what he expected to see. "No volunteers?" he asked. "Are humans truly this weak, this afraid?" One of his guards laughed. It was an ugly sound. Then a hand went up. It came from the back of the room, from the corner where nobody usually looked, from the desk where Maya Chen sat with her book about ancient warfare. "I accept," she said. Her voice was calm, it was quiet, but everyone heard it. Draxus turned to look at her. His eyes narrowed. This small human girl, she was nothing. She was tiny. She looked like he could break her with one hand. "You," he asked, "you accept my challenge?" Maya stood up. She closed her book slowly. She looked directly at Draxus. She did not look away. "Yes," she said, "but I have a condition." The room went even more silent. Nobody had conditions for Keithrani. Humans did not make demands. Draxus was surprised, but he was also interested. This was unexpected. This was almost fun. "What condition?" he asked. "I want your top fighter," Maya said. Draxus laughed. His guards laughed too. The sound echoed off the walls. "My top fighter," Draxus repeated. "Do you even know who that is? Do you know what you are asking for?" Maya's face did not change. She was not smiling. She was not scared. She was just calm, completely calm. "It doesn't matter who it is," she said. "Whoever your best fighter is, that's who I want to face." Draxus stopped laughing. He studied her more carefully now. What was wrong with this human? Why was she not afraid? Did she not understand what she was saying? "My top fighter is Carveth," he said. "She killed a sandworm when she was 12 years old. She has won 47 honor duels. She has never lost. She is the deadliest warrior in my delegation." Maya nodded slowly. "Good," she said. "I want to fight her." The human students were staring at Maya now. Some of them thought she was crazy. Some of them thought she was brave. Most of them thought she was going to die. Draxus walked closer to Maya. He towered over her. She had to look up to meet his eyes, but she did not step back. She did not move at all. "You are either very brave or very stupid," he said. "Maybe both," Maya replied. Draxus stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled again. This smile was different. It was the smile of someone who had found something interesting. 3 days, he said. "The challenge will happen in 3 days, in the gymnasium. Everyone will watch. And when Carveth defeats you, everyone will remember what humans truly are." He turned and walked toward the door. His guards followed him. At the door, he stopped and looked back at Maya. "I hope you use these 3 days wisely, little human," he said. "Pray to whatever gods you believe in. Make peace with your family, because in 3 days you will learn why the Keithrani rule the stars." Then he was gone. The classroom exploded into noise. Students were talking, shouting, asking questions. Mrs. Patterson was trying to restore order, but Maya just sat back down at her desk. She opened her book again. She turned to the next page. Her hands were steady, her breathing was slow, her heart was calm. Nobody noticed, but if they had looked closely they would have seen something in her eyes. It was not fear, it was not doubt. It was patience, the patience of someone who had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. The news spread through Hawthorne Academy like fire through dry grass. By lunchtime, everyone knew. The quiet girl from classroom 4B had challenged the Keithrani. Not just any Keithrani. She had asked for their best fighter. Maya sat alone in the cafeteria. This was normal. She always sat alone. She had her lunch in front of her. She had her book next to her tray. She ate slowly and read quietly, just like every other day. But today was not like every other day. Students kept walking past her table. They stared at her. They whispered to each other. Some of them pointed. Maya ignored all of it. She turned a page in her book and took another bite of her sandwich. Her friend Sarah finally sat down across from her. Sarah was the only person who regularly talked to Maya. They had known each other since middle school. "Please tell me this is a joke," Sarah said. Her face was worried. "Please tell me you didn't actually challenge the Keithrani." Maya looked up from her book. "I did," she said simply. "Why?" Sarah's voice was almost a whisper. "Maya, they'll kill you. Have you seen Keithrani warriors? They're huge, they have claws, they have scales. You're small," Maya offered. "Human," Sarah said. "You're human. We don't win fights against Keithrani. That's the whole point. That's why they do these challenges, to remind us that we can't win." Maya closed her book. She looked at Sarah with calm eyes. "Someone has to try," she said. Before Sarah could respond, 3 more students came to the table, 2 boys and a girl. Maya recognized them from her other classes. They had never spoken to her before. "Is it true?" one of the boys asked. "Did you really ask for their top fighter?" "Yes," Maya said. "Are you insane?" the girl asked. Maya thought about this question. "Maybe," she said. "We'll find out in 3 days." The students stared at her. They did not know what to say. This girl was either the bravest person they had ever met, or she had completely lost her mind. Meanwhile, in the east wing of the school, the Keith Ronnie delegation was having its own conversation. Draxus sat on a large chair that had been brought from their ship. Normal human chairs were too small for him. Around him stood his guards and advisors. And in the corner, sharpening her claws with a small metal tool, sat Kairvith. Kairvith was different from the others. She was tall, over 2 meters, but lean rather than bulky. Her skin was pale green like young leaves. Her eyes were black from edge to edge with no white at all. She moved like water, smooth and silent. "Tell me about this human," she said. Her voice was soft, almost gentle. This made it more frightening, not less. "A young female," Draxus said. "Small, unremarkable. I do not know why she challenged us. Perhaps she is mentally damaged." "Perhaps," Kairvith said, but she did not sound convinced. "Does it matter?" one of the guards asked. "She is human. You will break her in seconds." Kairvith did not respond. She continued sharpening her claws. The soft scraping sound filled the room. "I would like to observe her," Kairvith said finally, "before the match." Draxus raised an eyebrow. This was unusual. Kairvith never studied her opponents. She never needed to. "If you wish," he said. That afternoon, Kairvith watched Maya from a distance. She saw the human girl walk through the hallways. She saw her sit in class. She saw her eat lunch alone with her book. What she did not see was fear. Every human Kairvith had ever met had been afraid of her. It was natural. She was a predator. Humans were prey. They could not help being afraid, just like small animals could not help being afraid of large ones. But this girl showed nothing. No fast heartbeat, no fear smell, no nervous movements. She was calm, completely calm. Kairvith passed by Maya in the hallway. Their eyes met. Maya nodded politely, a simple human greeting, and walked on. That night, Kairvith did something she had never done before. She used her computer to search the Earth Information Network. She wanted to learn about human fighting. What she found surprised her. Humans had thousands of ways to fight. They had been fighting each other for their entire history. They had fighting with fists, fighting with feet, fighting with grappling and throwing, fighting with weapons of every kind. They had turned violence into an art form. Kairvith read for hours. She learned about boxing, a human sport where fighters only used their hands. She learned about wrestling, where fighters tried to control each other on the ground. She learned about newer martial arts that combined many styles together. Then she found something interesting. It was an old news article from 3 years ago. A regional competition in something called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The winner was a 14-year-old girl who had defeated opponents twice her size. The girl's name was Maya Chen. Kairvith stared at the picture. It was definitely the same human, younger but the same calm eyes, the same quiet confidence. She read more about this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was a fighting style that focused on ground combat. It used joint locks and chokes. It was designed to let smaller fighters defeat larger ones. Kairvith closed her computer. She sat in the darkness for a long time thinking. The next morning, she reported to Draxus. "The human is not what she seems," Kairvith said. Draxus laughed. "What is she then? A secret warrior, a human champion?" "Yes," Kairvith said, "exactly that." Draxus stopped laughing. He looked at Kairvith carefully. She was never wrong about these things. "Explain," he said. Kairvith told him what she had found, the martial arts, the championship, the fighting style designed for smaller opponents. Draxus listened. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. "This changes nothing," he said finally. "Human martial arts are for fighting other humans. They do not prepare someone to fight Keith Ronnie. You are stronger. You are faster. You have claws and thick skin. What can human techniques do against that? Karvith nodded slowly. He was probably right. Human fighting was impressive for humans, but against a Keithrani warrior, it should not matter. And yet the human girl was still not afraid. She knew who she was fighting. She knew what Keithrani could do, and she was not afraid. I will not underestimate her, Karvith said. Good, Draxus replied. But do not overestimate her either. She is human. In the end, that is all that matters. Karvith left the room. She went to the training area they had set up. She began to practice, not her normal practice. She practiced fighting smaller opponents. She practiced defense against grappling. She practiced things she had never needed to practice before. 2 days remained until the match. In the old gymnasium on the other side of the school, Maya Chen was also practicing. The windows were frosted. Nobody could see inside. She moved alone on the mats, drilling techniques she had learned over years of training. Her body flowed through positions: attack, defense, submission, escape. She had spent her whole life preparing for something. She had not known what. Now she knew. In 2 days, she would show the Keithrani what humans could do. In 2 days, she would remind them that size and strength were not everything. In 2 days, the galaxy would learn why humans were not easy prey. Maya finished her practice. She was not breathing hard. She was not tired. She was ready. She had been ready for a long time. The last day before the match arrived. The whole school was buzzing with nervous energy. Students gathered in small groups, talking in low voices. Teachers tried to keep classes normal, but nobody could focus. Everyone was thinking about tomorrow. Maya went through her day like always. She attended classes. She took notes. She ate lunch alone with her book. She acted like nothing unusual was happening. But the people around her could not do the same. The principal, Mr. Henderson, called Maya to his office in the morning. He was a tall man with thin hair and worried eyes. When Maya walked in, he was packing behind his desk. "Miss Chen," he said, "please sit down." Maya sat. She folded her hands in her lap and waited. "I have been trying to find a way to cancel this challenge," Mr. Henderson said. "I have called lawyers. I have contacted government officials. I have read the treaty myself 3 times. He stopped packing. He looked at Maya with something like despair. "There is no way out," he said. "The treaty is clear. Ceremonial challenges are protected. If you refuse now, it will be seen as an insult to the Keithrani. There could be consequences for the whole school, maybe for the whole city." Maya nodded slowly. "I understand," she said. "I'm not going to refuse." Mr. Henderson stared at her. "You want to go through with this?" "Yes." "Miss Chen, Maya," he sat down heavily in his chair. "Do you understand what you're facing? Karvith is a trained warrior. She has killed creatures larger than cars. She has fought in real battles. This is not a sport to her. This is what she was born to do." Maya looked at the principal calmly. "May I ask you a question?" she said. Mr. Henderson blinked, surprised. "Of course." "When the Keithrani came to Earth 5 years ago, what did humanity do?" The principal was quiet for a moment. "We surrendered," he said finally. "We had no choice. Their technology was too advanced. Their weapons were too powerful." "We surrendered without fighting," Maya said. "We saw their ships and we gave up. We decided we couldn't win, so we didn't even try." "Because we couldn't win," Mr. Henderson said. "Fighting would have meant destruction." "Maybe," Maya said. "But we didn't just surrender our military. We surrendered our pride. We surrendered our belief in ourselves. Every day since then we have been told that humans are weak, that we are less than the Keithrani, that we should accept our place." She stood up from her chair. "Tomorrow I am going to show everyone that humans are not weak. We may not have the biggest ships. We may not have the strongest bodies, but we have something else. We have 10,000 years of learning how to fight. We have a history of facing things bigger and stronger than us, and we have the will to never give up. Mr. Henderson did not know what to say. "What if you lose?" he asked quietly. Maya shrugged. "Then I lose," she said, "but at least I will have tried. At least one human will have stood up and said no. That is worth something. Maybe it is worth everything." She walked to the door. Before she left, she turned back. "Don't cancel the match," she said. "Don't try to save me. Just watch. And maybe, just maybe, you will remember what it feels like to believe in something." Then she was gone. That evening, news crews arrived at the school. Someone had leaked the story. "Human Girl Challenges Alien Warrior" was the headline on every channel. Reporters tried to find Maya, but she had already gone home. At her house, Maya sat with her mother and father at the dinner table. The food was good. Her mother had made her favorite dish, sweet and sour pork with rice. "You don't have to do this," her mother said. Her eyes were red. She had been crying earlier. "I know," Maya said. "Then why?" her father asked. He was a quiet man who rarely spoke, but tonight his voice was heavy with emotion. Maya put down her chopsticks. She looked at her parents, the two people who had loved her all her life. "Do you remember when I was 8 years old?" she asked. "I came home from school crying because some older kids had pushed me down and taken my lunch money." Her parents nodded. "You told me I had two choices," Maya continued. "I could be afraid forever, or I could learn to stand up for myself. The next week, you enrolled me in my first martial arts class." Her mother wiped her eyes. "We didn't mean for you to fight aliens," she said. Maya smiled softly. "I know, but you taught me something important. You taught me that being small doesn't mean being weak. You taught me that courage is not about having no fear. It is about doing what is right even when you are afraid." She reached across the table and took her mother's hand. "I am not afraid," Maya said. "I have trained for 9 years. I know what I am doing. And I know why I am doing it. Not just for me. For everyone. For every human who has been told they are not good enough. For every child who looks at the sky and wonders if humans will ever be respected again." Her father nodded slowly. He was not a man who showed emotion easily, but Maya could see the pride in his eyes. "Your grandmother survived the occupation of Korea," he said quietly. "She taught your mother to be strong. Your mother taught you. You come from a long line of women who do not give up." He stood up and walked around the table. He put his hand on Maya's shoulder. "Win or lose," he said, "you make us proud." That night Maya could not sleep. She lay in her bed and stared at the ceiling. She thought about tomorrow. She thought about Karvith. She thought about everything that could go wrong. But she also thought about everything that could go right. Around midnight she got up and went to her window. She looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Keithrani Empire spread across 100 worlds. They had conquered dozens of species. They believed they were the masters of the galaxy. Tomorrow, Maya would show them something they had forgotten. She would show them that humans were not just another conquered race. Humans were survivors. Humans were fighters. Humans had faced extinction 100 times and always came back. The Keithrani had made a mistake. They had looked at Earth and seen a small planet with weak creatures. They had not looked deeper. They had not seen the fire that burned in human hearts. Maya closed her eyes. She breathed slowly. She let her mind become still and clear. Tomorrow was not just a fight. It was a message to the Keithrani, a message to the humans who had forgotten their strength, a message to the whole galaxy. Humans were not prey. Humans were not weak. Humans were the most dangerous thing in the universe. A species that never stopped trying, never stopped learning, never stopped fighting. Tomorrow, everyone would remember that. Maya finally fell asleep as the first light of dawn touched the sky. Her sleep was deep and peaceful. Her dreams were calm. When she woke up, she was ready. The gymnasium was packed with people. Students sat in the bleachers, shoulder to shoulder. Teachers stood along the walls. Parents who had heard the news crowded near the doors. News cameras pointed at the center of the room, where a large circle had been drawn on the floor. This was the ceremonial ring, the place where the challenge would happen. Draxus sat on a raised platform at one end of the gymnasium. His golden eyes watched everything. His guards stood behind him like statues. This was his moment. This was when humans would learn their place once again. The noise in the room was incredible. Hundreds of voices talking, shouting, whispering. But when the side door opened, everyone went silent. Carveth walked in. She was wearing traditional Keithrani fighting clothes. They were simple, just loose pants and a sleeveless top that showed her muscled arms. Her pale green skin seemed to glow under the gymnasium lights. Her black eyes scanned the crowd without emotion. She walked to the center of the ring and stood there perfectly still. Her claws hung at her sides. Her breathing was slow and steady. She looked like a predator waiting for prey. Minutes passed. The crowd grew restless. Where was the human girl? Had she run away? Had she finally realized what she was facing? Then the main door opened. Maya walked in alone. She was wearing a simple black outfit, the kind she wore for training. Her hair was tied back in its usual ponytail. She carried nothing. She wore no protection. She looked exactly like she always did, quiet, calm, unremarkable. She walked through the crowd toward the ring. People stared at her. Some reached out to touch her arm or pat her shoulder. She nodded to them but did not stop. When she reached the edge of the ring, she paused. She looked at Carveth. The alien warrior was almost twice her height. Her arms were longer, her body stronger, her claws sharp enough to cut through metal. Maya stepped into the ring. The crowd held its breath. Maya bowed. It was a simple bow from the waist, the kind her first martial arts teacher had taught her when she was 8 years old. It was a sign of respect, not fear, just respect. Carveth did not bow back. She tilted her head slightly, studying the small human in front of her. "You are brave," Carveth said. Her voice carried across the silent gymnasium. "Stupid but brave." Maya did not respond. She settled into a low stance, her knees bent, her weight centered, her hands open and ready. Draxus stood up. "The challenge begins now," he announced. "Fight until one yields or cannot continue. No weapons, no help from others, begin." Carveth moved. She was fast, faster than any human could be. Her arms shot forward, claws extended, aimed at Maya's head. If that strike landed, it would end the fight immediately. It would end everything. But Maya was not there. She had started moving before Carveth's arm began its swing. Not backward, where the alien expected her to go. Forward, under the attack, into the space where Carveth could not reach her. Maya's hands found Carveth's extended arm. She grabbed it, twisted her body and pulled. Carveth stumbled. For the first time in the fight, her balance was broken. She tried to recover, but Maya was already moving again, sliding around behind her, controlling her arm, bending it in a direction it did not want to go. The crowd gasped. Carveth roared and spun, breaking free with pure strength. She lashed out with her other arm, and this time she was faster, more careful. Her claws grazed Maya's shoulder, cutting through the fabric of her shirt. First blood, red appeared on Maya's skin. But Maya did not stop. She did not slow down. She moved in again, closing the distance, taking away Carveth's advantage of reach. What followed was unlike anything the crowd had ever seen. Carveth was stronger, she was faster. Her claws were deadly. But every time she tried to use her strength, Maya was not where she expected. Every time she swung, Maya was already moving, already repositioning, already finding a new angle of attack. Maya did not try to hurt Carveth. She did not punch or kick. Instead, she controlled, she grabbed, she twisted. She used Carveth's own power against her. It was like watching water fight stone. The stone was hard and strong, but the water flowed around it, over it, through the cracks it did not even know it had. Karvith threw Maya across the ring. Maya rolled with the throw, came up on her feet, and moved in again immediately. Karvith grabbed Maya around the waist, lifting her off the ground. Maya wrapped her legs around Karvith's body, locked her arms around the alien's neck, and began to squeeze. For a moment, Karvith stood there with Maya hanging from her like a strange attachment. She tried to pull the human off. She could not. Maya's grip was too tight, her position too strong. Karvith slammed Maya against the floor. Once, twice. Maya felt pain explode through her back, but she did not let go. She squeezed tighter. The alien warrior's movements became slower. The choke was working. Even Keith Ronnie needed air. Karvith dropped to her knees. She was still trying to pull Maya off, but her strength was fading. Her black eyes were wide with something she had never felt before. Surprise, confusion, fear. Maya shifted her grip. She released the choke and transitioned to an arm lock instead. She grabbed Karvith's right arm, wrapped her legs around it, and fell backward, pulling the arm straight, putting pressure on the elbow joint. Karvith screamed. The sound was terrible. The sound of a warrior who had never known defeat, facing something she did not understand. Maya applied more pressure. The arm was at its limit. One more movement and it would break. Yield, Maya said. Her voice was quiet, calm, almost gentle. It was not a demand, it was an offer. Karvith struggled. She tried to stand. She tried to pull free, but Maya's position was perfect. Every movement only made the pain worse. The crowd was completely silent. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. A human, a small human girl, had one of the deadliest Keith Ronnie warriors trapped on the ground. Draxus was standing. His face was unreadable. His hands were clenched into fists. Yield, Maya said again. There is no shame in it, you fought well. Karvith stopped struggling. She lay still for a long moment. Her breathing was heavy. Her body was trembling with pain and exhaustion. Then slowly, she raised her free hand. She tapped the floor 3 times. The universal signal of surrender. Maya released her immediately. She rolled away and stood up, creating distance, ready in case Karvith changed her mind. But Karvith did not attack. She lay on her back, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand what had just happened. The gymnasium remained silent for what felt like forever. Then someone started clapping. It was a single person at first. Then another joined. Then another. The clapping spread through the crowd like a wave, building and building until the whole room was thundering with applause. Maya stood in the center of the ring, blood running down her shoulder, her body aching from the fight. She did not smile. She did not celebrate. She just stood there, breathing, alive, victorious. A human had defeated a Keith Ronnie warrior. Everything had changed. The applause continued for a long time. Students were on their feet. Teachers were shouting. Even some of the parents were crying. For 5 years, humanity had lived under the shadow of the Keith Ronnie. For 5 years, they had been told they were weak, they were lesser, they were meant to follow. And now, a 17-year-old girl had proven them all wrong. Maya stood in the center of the ring, waiting. The fight was over, but the challenge was not complete. There was still the matter of the wager. Karvith slowly got to her feet. She moved carefully, protecting her injured arm. Her black eyes found Maya, and she studied the human girl for a long moment. How? Karvith asked. Her voice was quiet, meant only for Maya. How did you do that? Maya met her gaze. I learned, she said simply. I practiced. Every day for 9 years. That is what humans do. We learn. We adapt. We find ways to overcome things bigger and stronger than us. Karvith nodded slowly. Something had changed in her eyes. The contempt that had been there before was gone. In its place was something new, something that looked almost like respect. Where did you learn to fight like that? Karvith asked, louder now so others could hear. Earth, Maya replied. We have had a long time to practice fighting things bigger than us. You are not the first. You will not be the last. Draxus stood on his platform. His face was still unreadable, but his hands were no longer clenched. He watched the exchange between his top warrior and the human girl. Around him, his guards were tense. They had never seen Karvith lose. They did not know how to respond. Some of them looked angry, some looked confused, one or two looked almost afraid. Draxus raised his hand. The crowd slowly fell silent. The challenge is complete, he announced. His voice was even controlled. The human has won. He paused. The gymnasium waited. The terms of the wager will be honored. A new wave of cheering erupted from the human crowd. Maya had not just won a fight. She had won respect for every human in the school. No more dominance displays. No more reminders of humanity's place. The Keithrani would treat them as equals. Maya walked toward the platform where Draxus stood. The crowd parted for her. She stopped at the base of the platform and looked up at the son of the Warlord. "Thank you for honoring our agreement," she said. Draxus studied her for a long moment. Then slowly he inclined his head. It was a small movement, barely noticeable, but everyone who knew Keithrani customs understood what it meant. It was the gesture of acknowledgement between equals. "You have earned it," Draxus said. "I did not think it was possible. I believed humans were weak. I believed our superiority was natural, unchangeable. You have shown me I was wrong." He stepped down from the platform until he was standing in front of Maya. He towered over her just as he had in the classroom 3 days ago, but something was different now. The arrogance was gone. In its place was curiosity. "I have a question," he said. "Why did you do this? You could have been killed, you could have been crippled. What made you take such a risk?" Maya thought about the question carefully before answering. "Because someone had to," she said. "Because my people needed to remember who they are. For 5 years we have been told we are weak. We have started to believe it. Children grow up thinking humans are nothing. They have no hope, no pride, no belief in themselves." She looked around the gymnasium, at all the human faces watching her. "Today I wanted to show them the truth. Humans are not weak. We may be small. We may have less advanced technology. But we have something that cannot be measured by size or weapons. We have the will to never give up. We have the ability to learn and adapt. We have 10,000 years of history that proves we can survive anything." She turned back to Draxus. "Your people conquered the stars with ships and weapons. My people conquered our own planet with nothing but our minds and our hands. We faced ice ages, diseases, natural disasters, and wars that killed millions. Every time we came back. Every time we grew stronger." Maya's voice was still calm, still quiet, but there was power in it now, the power of truth. "You can defeat humans in battle," she said. "You can occupy our planet. You can make us sign treaties, but you cannot break us. You cannot make us forget what we are. And as long as one human remembers, there will always be hope." The gymnasium was completely silent. Even the Keithrani guards were listening. Karvith walked over to stand beside Draxus. She had been watching Maya during the entire speech. Now she spoke. "I have fought warriors from 12 different species," Karvith said. "I have never been defeated. Today, a human girl half my size put me on the ground and made me yield." She paused. "I have been a fool. I looked at humans and saw only their size, their weakness. I did not see their spirit. I did not see their skill. I did not see the fire that burns inside them." She extended her uninjured hand toward Maya. It was the Keithrani gesture of warrior respect. It was rarely given, and never to species they considered inferior. Maya reached out and clasped Karvith's hand. "You fought well," Maya said. "I was lucky." "No," Karvith replied. "You were prepared. That is not luck, that is wisdom." Draxus watched this exchange. When it was complete, he turned to address the whole gymnasium. I came to Earth believing I had nothing to learn here, he said. I was wrong. Today I learned something important. Strength is not only in the body, it is in the mind. It is in the heart. It is in the will to fight even when victory seems impossible. He looked at Maya. I will report to my father what I have seen here. I will tell him that humans are not what we believed. They are not prey. They are not weak. They are warriors, different from us but warriors nonetheless. Later that day, a Keithrani diplomat sent a quiet message to the Empire. The message said, "Recommend revised assessment of human threat capability. They have been fighting each other for 10,000 years. They have refined it to an art." In the weeks that followed, things changed at Hawthorne Academy. Keithrani students started sitting with human students at lunch. They started asking questions about human history, human sports, human culture. They started listening. And Maya Chen went back to her normal life. She sat in the back of classrooms. She read books during lunch. She politely declined the dozens of interview requests that came from news organizations around the world. When her friend Sarah asked why she did not want to be famous, Maya just shrugged. "I did not do it to be famous," she said. "I did it because someone had to remind them." Remind them of what? Maya smiled. It was a small smile, quiet like everything else about her. That humans do not know how to stay down. She opened her book and went back to reading. Outside the window, the sun was shining. The world was changing, and somewhere, in schools and homes and workplaces across Earth, humans were standing a little taller. They had remembered who they were. They would not forget again.